CeCe Winans, the gospel icon whose voice has moved millions and whose faith has inspired countless hearts, recently found herself at a crossroads that brought her family to tears. Known for her soulful melodies and unshakable positivity, CeCe faced a decision that wasn't just about music, it was about life, love, and everything in between. But what could possibly rattle the queen of gospel? A new album? A surprise world tour? Or something far more personal? Join us as we reveal CeCe Winans' tough decision that left her family in tears. A journey of faith, family, and resilience. CeCe Winans is a name that resonates with power, grace, and a voice that could probably part the Red Sea if she really tried. Her journey through life and music has been nothing short of inspiring, emotional, and, let's be honest, a little intimidating for those of us who struggle to balance a full-time job and remembering to water our plants. But what makes CeCe truly remarkable isn't just her powerhouse vocals or her jaw-dropping collection of awards, it's her ability to juggle her faith, her family, and her career. Married to Alvin Love II, CeCe has built a rock-solid partnership that could probably withstand a Category 5 hurricane. Over the years, she's spoken openly about how Alvin's unwavering support has been a cornerstone of her success. While some couples argue over who left the cap off the toothpaste, CeCe and Alvin have been busy building a life rooted in love, mutual respect, and an unshakable belief in God. But let's not sugarcoat it, balancing a high-profile career and a family isn't exactly a walk in the park. CeCe is a mother who has raised her children with a strong emphasis on faith and values. And no, this doesn't mean she handed them a Bible and said, "Good luck." It means she's instilled in them an understanding of what truly matters in life, staying grounded, staying humble, and knowing that mom might be a Grammy-winning superstar, but she's also the person who will make you finish your vegetables. Her kids have grown up watching their mom navigate the demands of an international music career while keeping her feet firmly planted on the ground, or at least as firmly as one can when wearing heels on stage. They've learned to appreciate the sacrifices she's made without losing sight of the bigger picture. Faith and family always come first. And honestly, if CeCe can do all this while raising kids who don't roll their eyes during grace at dinner, she deserves an award just for that. The career that keeps on giving. With over 1 million albums sold, 15 Grammy Awards, 31 GMA Dove Awards, and 19 Stellar Awards, her trophy shelf probably needs its own zip code. But what makes CeCe's career so special isn't just the accolades, it's the heart behind the music. Her voice isn't just powerful, it's transformative. Listening to CeCe sing feels like being wrapped in a warm hug from above. Her songs aren't just catchy, they are soul-stirring anthems that make you want to be a better person, or at least think about being one until the next time someone cuts you off in traffic. But even with all this success, CeCe has never lost sight of what truly matters. She's managed to stay true to herself, her faith, and her purpose without getting swept away by the glitz and glamour of the music industry. And let's be real, that's no small feat in a world where people start feuds over Instagram likes. But really, how does CeCe manage to balance it all? How does she juggle being a wife, mother, and global gospel icon without losing her mind, or her voice? A legacy in harmony. CeCe Winans didn't just stumble into gospel music. She was practically born into it. Her parents, Mom and Pop Winans, gospel royalty, and their 10 children were destined to carry the torch, or perhaps the microphone. CeCe, the eighth in line, grew up surrounded by music. Her brothers Marvin, Carvin, Ronald, who has since passed, and Michael formed the legendary gospel quartet the Winans, while CeCe and her brother BB became a dynamic duo in their own right. If there were ever a family reunion karaoke night, you'd want an invite to this gathering. But growing up in the first family of gospel music wasn't just about harmonies and hymns. It also came with expectations, big ones. CeCe inherited not just talent but also a legacy. And while some might buckle under that kind of pressure, she's managed to turn it into fuel for her career. Being a gospel superstar isn't all choir robes and standing ovations. It's long hours in the studio, endless tours, and a constant need to stay relevant in an industry that changes fast. And as much as CeCe tried to keep a balance, there was one dreadful time in CeCe's life when she had to make a big decision: a crossroads where she had to choose what truly mattered most. The decision that changed everything. CeCe was a woman with the kind of energy that could light up a city grid and still have enough left over to bake cookies for the PTA meeting. She was the embodiment of having it all, juggling her roles as a devoted mother, a loving partner, and a public figure who commanded respect from every corner of her field. Her family? Oh, they were used to it. They'd long since accepted that CeCe's natural habitat was somewhere between a spotlight and a standing ovation. Her kids would watch her on stage, their faces glowing with pride, and maybe just a hint of "mom's cooler than your mom" vibes. Her career wasn't just a job, it was her lifeblood, the fire in her belly, and the caffeine in her veins. So when she made a life-altering decision that left everyone slack-jawed and teary-eyed, it wasn't just surprising, it was downright seismic. 4-0. The year was 2008. The world was busy struggling with an economic meltdown, but CeCe? She was dealing with a crisis of her own. A health scare had barged into her life like an uninvited guest who refuses to leave, forcing her to slam the brakes on her fast-paced existence. It wasn't just a wake-up call, it was more like a wake-up siren blaring at full volume. "I thought I had the flu," CeCe said with a shrug that could only come from hindsight. "I figured the doctor would hand me some meds, I'd take a nap, and be back on stage in no time." Sadly, that's not how it went down. Instead, the doctor hit her with shocking news. "You've got a stomach infection, and we need to operate immediately," he said, as if this was just another Tuesday. Emergency surgery? For someone with a major tour looming? CeCe's brain short-circuited. "They told me I could be in the hospital anywhere from 7 days to 7 weeks, she recalled. 7 weeks. I was supposed to be dazzling audiences, not stuck in a hospital bed wearing socks with grips on them. But life has a funny way of slowing you down when you least expect it, and when you least want it." As CeCe begrudgingly hit pause on her high-octane life, something unexpected happened. Those days of recovery turned into weeks of reflection, and what initially felt like a detour turned into a divine pit stop. "I ended up only staying in the hospital for a few days," she said, still sounding a little surprised by it all. "Then I spent the entire fall and holiday season at home with my family." For someone who usually measured her time in tour dates and sound checks, this sudden stretch of stillness was uncharted territory. "God just knows how to slow us down sometimes," she said with a wry laugh. "Not that I'm asking him to do it again." Now, if you know anything about CeCe, you know she's not the type to wallow. Instead, she took this as an opportunity to re-evaluate everything, her priorities, her lifestyle, and yes, even that jam-packed calendar she guarded like a dragon hoarding treasure. For someone who had always thrived on go, 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 this pause was equal parts terrifying and enlightening. Her family was stunned when she announced her decision. CeCe was stepping back, not just from work but from the very identity that had defined her for so long. The woman who had always been working was choosing to downsize her world. And let's be clear, this wasn't some impulsive whim. This was CeCe at her most thoughtful and strategic. She wasn't giving up, she was making room, for herself, for her health, and for the people who mattered most. As the months rolled on and her health scare became a memory, CeCe found herself asking some big questions. What really mattered? Was it the roar of the crowd or the laughter of her children? The spotlight or the warmth of her family's love? This wasn't an easy decision, CeCe admitted. But it was the right one. It was a crossroads moment, the kind that tests your heart and makes you choose what you hold most dear. CeCe's leap of faith. CeCe stood at the crossroads of career and faith, a place most people would avoid like a traffic jam on a Friday evening. Meanwhile, her family watched her with a mix of admiration and, is she really doing this, disbelief. The offers kept rolling in, projects that would make any ambitious go-getter say, "Where do I sign?" But CeCe? Well, she had already made her decision. "You know, we could have done a lot of different things," CeCe mused, her tone as casual as if she were deciding between coffee or tea. "Over the years, we've had countless projects offered to us. Countless, as in, more than you can count on your fingers and toes combined. But here's what I've learned, Jesus is there, always. And the greatest lesson I've had to learn is to truly depend on him. Now, let's pause for a moment. Trusting without knowing the outcome? That's like jumping out of a plane hoping someone packed your parachute. The truth is, it's not easy. Yet CeCe dove in headfirst, no parachute in sight, embracing the uncertainty with humility. It's like the Lord just said, "You're going to trust me." "I've been learning that lesson my whole life," she said, flashing a grin that could rival the sun. It's such a great experience, just trusting him. Her kids? Oh, they knew the stakes. They'd grown up watching their mom juggle the demands of a public career while walking the tightrope of faith. They knew this choice wasn't a casual shrug and move on kind of thing. Yet as CeCe spoke about her faith and surrender, they realized this wasn't just a decision, it was her victory lap. The temptation to be something you're not? That's never been a struggle for me, CeCe confessed with the kind of confidence that makes you want to sit up straighter. My prayer is to have a heart like his, full of compassion, doing only what the Father tells me to do. Simple, right? Well, not exactly. There were moments when doubt snuck in like an uninvited guest at a party. I'll end up in a place and ask, "How did I get here? Why am I here, God?" she admitted with a chuckle. But it's just that my steps are ordered. Her family couldn't hold back their tears, tears of pride, gratitude, and sheer awe for this woman who had chosen faith over fear, purpose over paycheck. CeCe had walked away from what most people would call the dream, to chase something infinitely more fulfilling, God's will. "I don't know where I'll be next year," she said with a peaceful smile that could calm a storm. "But I know I'll be in the center of his will because that's my prayer." And here's the thing, her family knew it too. Wherever CeCe went next, it would be exactly where she was meant to be. So there you have it, a masterclass in trust led by CeCe herself. No PowerPoint slides or motivational quotes required. Just faith, humility, and a heart full of purpose. But this wasn't the first time she had to make a difficult choice. A heart-wrenching choice. CeCe had always been the poster child for family values. Her bond with her brother wasn't just close, it was the stuff of legend. Together, they were the dynamic duo of music, creating hits that made crowds sing, cry, and occasionally ugly dance in their living rooms. Their partnership wasn't just a career, it was a legacy. So when CeCe decided to take a 4-0, CeCe's sharp left turn to go solo wasn't just a shock to her family, it sent waves through her entire fan base. This wasn't your average "I'm tired of sharing the spotlight" story. No, CeCe's decision was less about ego and more about a deep, soul-stirring call that couldn't be ignored. Imagine a woman standing at life's crossroads, one sign pointing to familiar comfort and the other flashing unknown territory with a side of faith. Well, CeCe chose the latter. It wasn't like I woke up one morning and thought, "You know what? I'm done with duets," CeCe later explained, her voice tinged with both humor and nostalgia. It was a process, lots of conversations, lots of prayers, and maybe a few sleepless nights where I stared at the ceiling like it owed me answers. The whispers started almost immediately. Was there sibling drama? Did she want all the glory for herself? Had she binge-watched too many inspirational TED Talks? The rumor mill churned out theories fast. But those who truly knew CeCe rolled their eyes at the gossip. They understood that her decision wasn't born out of ambition or conflict, it was born out of faith. "I've always believed that God has a plan," CeCe shared with a knowing smile. "But let me tell you, sometimes his plan feels like it comes with no GPS and a lot of detours." Her children, who had grown up watching their mom juggle family and career like a pro, were understandably surprised by her decision. After all, this was the woman who once cancelled a meeting to bake cupcakes for a school fundraiser. But as they heard the news about her wrestling with the choice and ultimately taking the leap, their surprise turned into admiration. "Honestly, I think they were half expecting me to change my mind," CeCe joked. "But when they saw how serious I was, they got it. They saw that this wasn't about leaving family behind, it was about stepping into something bigger than myself." Of course, not everyone got it. Some fans clutched their pearls and wailed about the end of an era. Others nodded sagely, as if they'd always known CeCe was destined for a solo journey. And then there were those who just wanted to know if her new music would still make them cry in the car on the way to work. Through it all, CeCe remained unshaken, or at least as unshaken as one can be when making a life-altering decision under public scrutiny. She leaned on her faith like it was an old friend who always showed up with coffee and good advice. "I've learned that obedience doesn't always come with applause," she said with a shrug. "Sometimes it comes with confusion and side eyes. But you know what? Peace is better than applause any day." And peace did follow, even if it took its sweet time showing up. CeCe's journey wasn't without its bumps, moments of doubt, moments when she missed the easy rhythm of working with her brother, moments when she wondered if she'd made a colossal mistake. But every time those doubts crept in, she reminded herself why she'd made the choice in the first place. "God's will doesn't always look like what people expect," she said, her voice steady with conviction. "And that's okay. It doesn't mean there's no love, it just means you're walking a different path." In the end, CeCe's decision wasn't about breaking ties or chasing fame, it was about trust. Trust in herself, trust in her faith, and trust that sometimes the hardest choices lead to the most beautiful destinations. And while not everyone understood her journey, those who mattered most did. Overcoming misinterpretations. CeCe Winans, the legendary gospel singer inspiring millions with her music and unwavering faith. But even a vocal powerhouse with the charisma of a saint isn't immune to the occasional bout of public misunderstanding. Over the years, CeCe has found herself in the middle of a few headline-worthy misinterpretations that have tested her ability to balance conviction with compassion. But she handled it all. With the grace of someone who's clearly had a lot of practice walking the high road, CeCe Winans has navigated public misunderstandings with unwavering dignity. One of the most talked about moments in her journey through the maze of public perception revolves around her decision to decline appearing in her close friend Whitney Houston's music video for "I'm Every Woman." Now, let's be clear, this wasn't some dramatic fallout between two divas. CeCe simply had concerns about certain lyrics in the song, which she felt didn't align with her faith. In particular, she referred to some of the lyrics as demonic. Naturally, this comment sparked a bit of a media frenzy, with some interpreting her words as a direct critique of Whitney or the song itself. The tabloids practically salivated at the idea of a feud between two music icons. But CeCe, being CeCe, quickly set the record straight. She explained that her decision was based on personal conviction, not a jab at Whitney or anyone else involved. In fact, she emphasized her deep love and respect for Houston, making it clear that this was less about throwing shade and more about staying true to her own beliefs. Fast forward to another moment where CeCe's words became their own headline act. During an interview with K-Love, she touched on divisions within the Christian church and called for believers to channel their inner Good Samaritan. Her message? Unity, compassion, and maybe a little less bickering over who's sitting where in heaven's VIP section. However, some listeners managed to twist her words into an imagined critique of specific groups or church practices. Once again, CeCe found herself in the position where she had to clarify things. She reiterated that her comments weren't about pointing fingers but about encouraging love and togetherness within the faith community. Basically, she was saying, hey, let's all be nice to each other, but somehow that got lost in translation. Still, CeCe didn't let the misunderstandings ruffle her feathers, or her halo. Instead, she doubled down on her message of unity and compassion. What's most impressive about CeCe Winans isn't just her ability to clear up misunderstandings, it's how she does it. She doesn't lash out or retreat into silence. Instead, she responds with grace, humor, and a steadfast commitment to her values. Thanks for watching, fam. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. Before you leave, you should check out the next video that pops up on your screen. 40.